Hi everyone and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about some review for our quiz that is coming up later this week. So hopefully doing a couple of these questions will help guide you through some of the principles that we're going to be assessed on very soon. So our first one, that first skill from 2.1 is just graphing systems and seeing where do they intersect. So we're going to identify our M and B values. That's going to tell us where do we start and what's our rise over run. So for our first equation, we start off at 2. We go down 1 and then over 1, 2, 3, down 1 and then over 1, 2, 3. And we're going to see that's going to help us to graph here. And drawing our straight line through this. Next for number 2, and I'll do this in a different color. Again, graphing, starting off this time at down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way at the bottom, and going up by 1. So carefully going through what we're seeing is we have an intersection at x is 6, y is 0, and that would be our solution. Just to double check, we would want to go in on a quiz and plug in these values and make sure that that's our exact spot. I know sometimes if we're not graphing with perfectly straight lines, it might mess us up. But for this one, showing on the graph that they cross at 6, 0, and we are in good shape. Next, solving with substitution. So here we're going to take a look at y is already solved for us, and y equals 3x minus 2. So let's switch these y's around. So we'll end up with 2x minus 3, and instead of y, we're going to plug in 3x minus 2 equals negative 20. So distribute in that negative 3, make sure we apply it to both terms, not just the first. Put together our like terms here. Go through and subtract. And then divide out to get that final answer of x equals 26 over 7. So that's solving for x, but make sure, again, we're not quite done there. We still need to go back and plug in and solve for y. So we would want to take that initial equation and we'd want to plug in that exact value for x, and that would allow us to get a numerical answer for y. All right, so we're going to see here y equals 26 times 3 over 7 minus 2. So that's going to get us to 78 over 7 minus 2, or 14 over 7 if we're going for some common denominators here. It's going to lead us to a final answer of 64 divided by 7. So there's our two values. We do have some fractions here, but keeping things accurate, keeping things with common denominators before we're doing anything else, and that's going to help us get to our final answer. All right, let's try some elimination now. So again, lining our variables straight up and straight down, we'll get 6x, the y's do cancel, and we get to 12. So 6x equals 12, divide both sides by 6, x equals 2. So now let's take it back to the original equation, plug in 2 for x, and we'll end up with negative 2y equals 2, divide both sides by negative 2, and y equals negative 1. So that's our full solution for that system, again using elimination to eliminate or get rid of one of our variables. Our final step here is 2.3, those word problems. So very carefully going through and annotating here as we're solving. All right, so the sum of a number and 2 times the second number is 7. So we have a number x and a second number y. So a number plus 2 times the second number is 7. Okay, that's some important information. The difference between the first and the second is the opposite of 2. What are the two numbers? All right, so we got to do some interpretation here. So the opposite of 2, so we're guessing here that's going to be negative 2. So the difference between our first and our second, we'll see as negative 2. So we're going to write a system and we're going to go through and we are going to solve. So we have two equations we've annotated carefully. Let's try some substitution to hopefully start. So we have x and we have x. So we are going to plug in. So we'll get 3y here, minus 2 equals 7. You can add 2 to both sides. 3y equals 9. Divide both by 3. And we'll get y equals 3. So then now we can plug in to the original for x. And we'll get x equals 1. All right, so let's go back through and check. So the sum of a number and 2 times the second number is 7. So 1 plus 2 times 3 does equal 7. The difference between 1 and 3, if we do 1 minus 3, is negative 2. So we wrote a system, we solved, those conditions held true, and we found our 2 numbers. So that's the same idea going through for any additional word problem questions. You want to write down 2 equations to have a system. Want to carefully annotate, and when you're done, make sure what you did makes sense. Go through and check your work and make sure that everything that you went through works. All right, so any questions, as always, let me know. I will see you very soon, and I hope that your studying is going well. And anything I can do to help, definitely reach out. Thanks for watching, everyone.